Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. So today's video going to be talking about ASIC buying tips. So we're going to go over best practices, some scams to avoid, different websites to look at, and things you got to take into consideration if you're thinking about buying one, right? These things are freaking expensive, so if you're going to buy one, you do not want to get scammed, right? So we're going to go over best practices and things to look for if you're thinking about doing that, right? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned, all right? So let's get right to it. So this is going to be a lot of tips, especially for newbies, right? If this is your first time buying one, if you're thinking about buying one, going to give you some best practices, right? So the number one place people tend to jump for is Amazon, right? A lot of us are familiar with Amazon. We're comfortable with Amazon. Something we know, something that's easily accessible, something that a lot of us have memberships for, right? So a lot of people tend to start here, right? Especially if you're looking at prices, different things. But unfortunately, there are a ton of scams on Amazon, right? So we're going to take a look at a couple. So just did a search for antminer K7. And right off the bat, right, click on the first one. So number one, pay attention to whether it's a sponsored result or not. Okay, if you look at the results, you see right on top, sponsored. These first two are both sponsored. A lot of scams tend to be that way, right? They will pay those advertising dollars because they know they're going to be the first ones there. Okay, so for example, we click on this one, and right off the bat, the brand, some weird name, right? Price doesn't look too bad though. What you want to look for is the vendor. So yes, we're buying it from Amazon, but anybody can become a vendor on Amazon. Okay, so you want to pay attention to this. So in this case, it's sold by some weird ass name, right? So we're going to click on that name. You click on the name, it gives you some feedback regarding them. So this one just launched, no feedback, right? Scam. Okay, don't even think about it. Don't even look beyond it. Scam. Okay, there's going to be a ton of these. Unfortunately, if you are looking to purchase on here, you got to go through them. Okay, so the first actual result, let's click on that one, see what we come up with. Okay, so this one is bitmain antminer. Visit the OEMG miner store, and you can confirm over here that it ships from and sold by OEMG miner. Okay, so we can click on the name, and this one actually does have reviews, right? They've been around for 12 months. They have 38 ratings, 87% positive. You can kind of look through them and get an idea if they actually sell miners, right? So you can go through here. So, okay, you can see there are reviews. So let's Google it, right? Let's see if it's an actual place. So let's just open up a random window. Let's put OEMG miner. So we can see that they are also vendors on other stores. So they also have a Newegg storefront, AliExpress, and so on. And we can see also on eBay. Okay, we can click on the eBay link and we can see again here, like, yep, and they do have feedback. We can look at make sure they actually sell ASICs so we can see other items. And yep, they sell a ton of ASICs, looking good there. Look at the feedback of their eBay store, see what it looks like. Okay, so far, things are looking pretty good there, right? This one's a possibility. Not necessarily one I'm recommending, never dealt with them, nothing like that, but these are things you want to look for. Okay, so they do sell other miners, and they have reviews. There is some kind of feedback. Okay, so we can keep that name in mind. And let's do another search. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one in line is this guy here. So again, this is the same scam that was up front, but this is the actual result, not the sponsored result. Let's look at this next one, a SenseMiner. Okay, so this is another tricky one. So SenseMiner is similar to like that other brand, right? When we Google them, they do have reviews, right? We can see they sell ASICs. They do kind of the same thing. They also sell on eBay. They also have a Newegg storefront. So they are kind of a name. Where they try to get you here, though, is that they will put the name of that store in the description and even in the brand, but it is actually not sold by them. Okay, this is why you have to pay attention to this. Okay, so they're kind of trying to trick you like, okay, you know what? I did my research on them. They look legit. This is from them. Add to cart. No, you got to pay attention to this. Okay, they will try to trick you with that. So when we click on Ning Tech, okay, same thing. Just launched, no feedback. Okay, so it's another type of scam that's on there. So what you want to do is see if there's any other vendors that have the same description. Okay, so when we click over here, now we can see here that it's from this vendor. Okay, so you really got to pay attention to these things. Okay, and not to say that everything on Amazon's a scam. Like SenseMiner does have other things. They do have other reviews. People have been there, so most likely they may possibly be legit. I know some of the other bigger stores also have Amazon storefronts, like I know Viperatech and a few others do as well. And the main reason people want to deal with Amazon is because their customer service, right? Number one, you're able to pay with credit cards. Number two, a lot of the times they'll do financing deals. Like right here, they do 18 months, 0% or whatever interest rate. So sometimes they do deals. So it is kind of enticing, but you got to make sure you're purchasing from a vendor that you at least have a shot at receiving a miner, right? So that way you're getting it. You do have some form of protection. Even if it is a scam, you'll likely get refunded. Just keep in mind that it may take a while, okay? Another example of a common scam that's been going around, and unfortunately I was talking to a few viewers and it did happen to them. Shout out to Jackson and Joker. So another scam that people are doing on here, right, which is a lot of these like just launched stores, what they'll do is after you purchase, you'll get a shipping label, right? And they'll ship you out a box, okay? Typically this thing will take weeks for you to get it. It'll have some random name. I think the most current one, it's a box labeled like CalMiner or some stupid name, and it'll have some kind of a redemption code, meaning that you redeem this and then you'll get your miner eventually. So essentially what it is, it's similar to like really old eBay scams where what they're trying to do is keep the process going and extend the process out as long as they can to make it harder for you to do like a return through Amazon or a chargeback through your credit card company. They try to extend it as long as possible, right? If you let this thing play out, you'll be dealing with it for months and you never receive anything, okay? They'll take super long for you to get that stupid little box, to give you a little code, and then they'll keep extending the process essentially, okay? So keep these things in mind, guys. You really got to do your research if you're doing these things, especially on Amazon. Again, most likely you will get your money. If it's difficult to go through Amazon, you also have recourse through your credit card. Okay, you can do a chargeback, but just keep in mind that if you do go that route, these stores will not like you. Amazon will likely cancel your account. But again, if it's this amount of money, I could care less about the Amazon account. Okay, I do not want to risk losing, in this example, $7,000. Right? So you got to really, really take these things into consideration. Okay. So although typically with Amazon it is a quick thing, I know some people have been having issues. But again, if you do have issues, email Amazon. Be like, hey, I did not get what was described in the thing. And if they try to give any kind of pushback, threaten them with that chargeback. Okay? Because when you do go with your credit card company, they will side with you because you did not get what you purchased. Okay? Which is a scam. It's not a crappy vendor who's taking forever. It is a scam. Okay? So typically once you go there, it'll expedite the process a little bit more. Okay? So please be aware of these different types of situations. That's just one example of many, many scams. They change every year. They're always getting more elaborate. Okay. So that's it for Amazon. Let's switch over to eBay now. Okay. So eBay is another one. And it's one that I use for checking prices, right? Especially used miners. The advantage with buying through eBay, even if it's used miners, is you do have a lot of buyer protection. Okay. Typically, even after, once you receive it, you typically have 30 days. Okay, if anything goes wrong with it, you're able to return. Regardless of what they put in the description, they're always going to side with the buyer. So as a seller, it sucks, right? But as a buyer, if you're purchasing, it's good buyer protection. Because unfortunately, same thing, there are a ton of scams. Okay? And not only like scams where they're trying to steal your money, but like very deceiving tactics. Okay? So we're going to do the same thing for this one. We're going to search antminer K7. We have it sorted low to high. And here's one that's super, super deceiving. Okay, very crappy tactic by this company. Okay, so we search under bitmain antminer K7, and this is what they start their title with. Okay, super, super crappy. Whoever this is, this storefront, miningcrate.com, should be ashamed of yourself. Okay, even down here in the description, offered for sale, one of a kind, build by miningcrate.com, the antminer K7. This is not a K7. This is two K5s. They're combining the hash words and making a unit. Super, super deceiving. But again, If you buy through eBay, this is something you would be able to return because this is not what you're getting. Okay, they are listing in the description that it is an antminer K7 when it is definitely not. Okay, so that is one thing to keep in mind. Let's do another one. So kind of similar what we talked about with Amazon. They do this junk on eBay as well. Okay, we referenced, I think it was SenseMiner. This is another one. So OEMG, they do sell, right? So in this one, it makes you think that it is through that vendor because they are using their picture. Okay, you see the OEMG, like, okay, do some research on them. This one looks good. This is the price. Boom. No. Look at the seller. Okay, so they are stealing their picture, making it look like it's them. Okay, unfortunately, people are falling for it because people have bought it. But you look at the seller, they have zero feedback and it's some completely different name. Okay, typically they will also steal the description. They will steal everything on there and make it look like it's that company when in fact it's not. Okay, so you can see here that's the cheapest price, and they do that purposely because they know that's what people tend to search by. They do it low to high. Okay, and you can see here they use the same exact, they didn't even try to make it different. They literally try to make it seem like it's that same company. Okay, but then we click on this one and this is the real one. Okay, you see the different name, 100% feedback. They actually do have feedback, but again, they stole their picture, and unfortunately eBay is very slow on fixing these things. I've reported a whole bunch of these and I continue to do so because I do not want people to get scammed. Okay, so again, you can research them and look through their feedback. This one does have feedback. You can go through it and see if they did purchase, if people have purchased miners from them, which here you can see here, somebody bought an iPolo. So that gives more credibility to it. And again, with eBay, you do have that buyer protection, but just keep in mind that you don't want to fall for one of these other scams because eventually you will get your money, but it's just a headache. Okay? Why put yourself through that headache? Take those few more minutes, research it. Okay? So same thing with buying used ones, right? Go through their other items, see what they sell, talk to them. You can email them, you can ask them questions about it, see how they respond, and go from there. Another scam that they've been getting better at clearing at is do not pay with anything other than PayPal. Okay, another scam that's been going on with these, the K7s, K3s, L7s, they'll have a decent price. You go through the description and they'll say, okay, if you pay with crypto, we'll lower it to even lower. It'll be 5,300, so you avoid the things, and they'll put in a USDT address. Do not do that. That is a scam. Okay, luckily eBay has been getting better. I haven't really been seeing those pop up. But what they've been doing is they'll hack an account that has crazy feedback. Okay, they'll hack a store from an auto parts store or something like that, and you look at the feedback will be 10,000. It's a 10-year-old account, 100% feedback. Everything looks good there. But what it is that they hack that account, they gain access over it, and they make these fake titles, right? So it looks legit. It looks like it's from a legit sender or a legit seller or legit vendor. You go through it and they have an option to pay with USDT in order to save some transaction fees, right? So it makes you think it's legit when it's not, okay? That's why you got to look at the feedback, see what else they sell, okay? I've seen those listings before also, and it's unfortunate because now that store has to deal with that headache because they're going to have all these complaints, people flooding, buying different things, and they had no idea that they were hacked, right? So again, they hack these stores, they take over the account, they put all these fake listings, and they go from there, okay? So you really, really got to take a lot of these things into consideration. And like I said, it's good to be aware of these things, even if you're not thinking about buying them, because that way you can take that knowledge to other storefronts to see what scams are. Because again, they're always changing, they're always getting more sophisticated, and it's good to keep up with them, right? That way you're more aware of what's going on, okay? Because I know another reason people buy from eBay is number one, that buyer protection. Number two is a lot of times they'll have things like this where they have PayPal credit deals. Sometimes they'll do 0% or 2.9% APR for 24 months or whatever. So I know that's why a lot of people tend to jump on it, but just be aware of that possibility, right? And then another thing to keep in mind is typically, let's say you find a store, right? Research that store. Sometimes they'll actually have good reviews. It looks like they sell miners, but they'll actually also have a storefront where it may be cheaper. Okay, because unfortunately eBay does tack on a lot of fees. It's typically like 10 to 13% higher. Okay, so a lot of times those prices are reflected, so it's typically also more expensive here. Same with Amazon, same type deal, is that because of those fees, the prices are going to be higher from like comparison to the actual store. Okay, one a good example is there's this store, not store, but just a vendor. He was on DJ Mine's stream. I told him this company right here, Endless Mining. So you look on here, same thing. You look at the reviews. Good reviews. They also have a storefront, right? You go through their actual store, and it's actually cheaper than what's on eBay, again, because of those fees. Okay, so if it's a seller you confide in, you think they're looking good, just keep in mind that may be a possibility, right? You can email them, talk to them, see what they say, right? And go from there. Another big scam, not necessarily a scam, okay? I know a lot of people buy through this manner, okay? But just understand the risks, okay? So there's a lot of like WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, and a lot of people, this is how they purchase them, right? They have different vendors that they have set up. I'm sure we've all seen a lot of these price sheets, and this is their vendors. Okay, some people have been using them for years. They have different things. They trust them. But just keep in mind, guys, that there is a lot of risk doing this. You have to have like crazy confidence in them. Me, personally, I would not do this by no means at all whatsoever. Because again, you're sending money through crypto. Typically, it's like USDT overseas and hope that you're going to get it. Okay, there is no guarantee. Okay, even these bigger vendors, okay, they can take all these pre-orders, they could have all these successful sales. Something can happen. Something can happen that's unforeseen that may not even be like a scam. Okay, they may just go bankrupt, they may go out, and you may lose your money. There's no recourse when it's, number one, it's crypto, number two, it's overseas. Okay, so understand, I know a lot of people purchase through them. They all have certain vendors that they go through, and a lot of them have had success. Right? There are a lot of smaller vendors when you go through these groups. And not saying they're all scams, but just understand there is a lot of risk when you do this. Okay? Crypto is one way. You send that money, it's there, it's gone. Especially what's been going on currently with the miners. Okay? A lot of it has been pre-order based. Okay? Like a lot of these, when the KA3 went up for sale, was back in September. Okay? That was like 5-6 months ago. You have to have an extreme amount of cautiousness when you're doing a purchase that far ahead of time. You have to be able to really trust that vendor to do that. So that's why me personally, because of the amount of money, I would only purchase with a credit card. That way I have some type of protection, okay, through the credit card company. You can do a chargeback. You have your issuer there. You have some form of protection. Okay, I don't mind paying that extra 3% fee to use that transaction. Okay, especially when it's potentially $6, $8, $10,000. Okay, that is a lot of money. 3% is nothing for that peace of mind, right? At least for me. Okay, everybody does their own thing, but just please take that into consideration if you're thinking about buying one. Okay, again, not saying all of these are scams and not singling any of them out, but just something to keep in mind. Like the reason I follow a lot of these guys is because typically their prices are the most up to date, right? Like if you're trying to get like ideas of price trends, where things are going, they are the most up to date. Okay, so I use it more for price comparison than anything. Would I buy from them? Absolutely not. Okay. So now let's go to some of the best practices. Okay. The safest is going to be direct from the vendor. Okay. In this case, this example, Bitmain. Okay. Whether it's Bitmain, Gold Shell, these bigger companies. Okay. Not to say all of them, right? There are smaller ASIC companies. I don't know there, but these two big guys are the ones that stand out, which is Bitmain and Gold Shell. Okay, especially with pre-orders. Again, especially with pre-orders, because again, it can be delayed. It can take way longer than even what you anticipated, even if it's something, oh, okay, they're going to be shipping in a month. You don't know. Especially all you guys who have purchased in the past, you know what I'm talking about. All you guys who bought L7s in the past, you know exactly what I'm talking about with delays. Okay? So again, you want to be able to purchase from somebody you're going to be able to trust, which in this case, it would be from the vendor. Okay? Is it really the best company in the world? No, but it's who you're going to deal with. Okay? They are a multi-million, possibly billion-dollar company. They will get it to you eventually, right? But something to think about, that it is the safest. Also for warranty purposes, it's the easiest, but also take into consideration that it may be the most expensive. Okay? One other big thing you have to factor in, if you're buying, let me give the specific example with bitmain. If you're buying for bitmain, number one, you got a KYC, you make your account, and let's say you want to buy this XP. On top of this spot price, if you're in the US, so this is specifically if you're in the US, you're going to be paying those customs fees on top of that price. Okay, I forget the exact figure, it's somewhere between 25 and 30%. So if you purchase through bitmain, you're going to get hit with that 100%, because technically that is what they're supposed to be doing. Okay? A lot of these other vendors, though, will put the declared value a lot lower, so you're not paying those fees. So even though sometimes it is more expensive on one of these other vendor stores, or it appears to be, at your final price, it may be cheaper going through them actually because of that. Typically, like for example, with BT miners, I purchased mine through them. It actually came out cheaper buying through them, even though it was technically an inflated MSRP over bitmain's price because of that. Okay, the declared value was a lot less than what it should have been to not get hit with that 30% tariff. Okay, so overall, the final price ended up being cheaper through them than if I would have gotten even on the original pre-sale. Okay, so these are things you do got to factor in. Okay, so that's from bitmain. You're going to get hit with the 100%. Gold Shell, I believe, now gives you the option. I believe now you put in the declared value. Okay, don't remember the exact price point where it starts. I think anything under 350, I want to say, you're not going to get hit. Okay, but you have to keep that into consideration, right? Especially if you're buying gold shell, because again, I believe you do put in that declared value and then you get taxed from there, right? So now let's go into vendors. Okay, and one good vendor list to look at is from asicminer value. Okay, again, their values and stuff haven't been the most accurate, and even these price points here are not very accurate. Again, you got to click through them because the prices are outdated, but what it does give you are a lot of the bigger vendors. Okay, not to say that all of these are 100%, 100% vetted. No. Typically, I would assume that these are sponsors. Okay, but typically these are also the biggest, most trusted vendors. Again, you got to do your own research. Go through them, see if anybody's purchased through them. See if they sponsor anybody. Like Cryptominer Bros is affiliated with RPM. Coin Mining Central sponsors a lot of the other YouTubers. Okay, so that gives them slightly more credibility. My personal favorite, only because I researched them and because of what they offer, is BT Miners. Okay, not trying to shill them, have no affiliation with them. I know I talk about them a lot, but that's because they are my preferred vendor. I feel safe purchasing through them. Every time I've emailed them, they respond very promptly. Okay, and my account with them has no affiliation with this YouTube account. There's no reference of it in there. When I update you guys and post those emails, that's from me, just as Joe Schmo, emailing them and them giving me a response right after. Like when bitmain delayed and I, posted up that email, that was direct from them. Okay, they gave me that info right off the bat. They were one of the first to inform people of that. Okay, so that gives more credibility through them. So it's one that I researched. I researched them. I know they sponsored a lot of YouTube channels. They sponsored like Son of a Tech and a few other channels. They also are sponsors for like Bitcoin Miami, which is one of the reasons that got me interested in them. So you can see them there. Oh, just refreshed it. But these are things you want to research, right? Another thing to take into consideration are about those like customs and duty fees we talked about. Email them directly so you can see what your actual final price is going to be. I know with Crypto Miner Bros, their big thing is that price that you see there is your all-in price. Okay, so you're gonna want to email if you're thinking about buying. Okay, let me look at ASIC Marketplace, Cool Dragon, and Hash. Email them and get a quote for your country. Okay, when I'm referencing it, I'm talking about specifically to the US, but for you guys in other countries, email them so they can give you that quote. See how they handle and declare the fees of the miner. That way you know what to expect, what your actual final price will be. Okay, because not all of them do that. Sometimes you pay the 5,300, and then once you get it in, you get a bill from DHL for that 30% tax. Okay, so that way you're not caught off guard by it. Okay, so like with BT miners, like I said, the price I paid at the end is the price I paid. Okay, so it was the price plus sales tax. That was it. Okay, so you really have to also take that into consideration. My recommendation, talk to them, email them, see how long it takes for them to respond. That's another thing, right? If you email them and it takes them a week to respond, probably not the best, customer service. Okay, so that's kind of like a test almost. Email them, hey, can I get a direct quote to my country? What is my all-in price for this miner? Okay, how do you guys do your declarations? Do you guys declare it at the full price? What do you guys do? I want to know so that way I'm not hit last minute with a 30% on top of these crazy prices. Okay, again, if it's $500 and it's a 30, it's not that big of a deal. But when it's $6,000, okay, 30%, another almost $2,000. Okay, that's a big hit, guys. So you got to really take that into consideration. Again, do your reviews, look through different things, Google them, see if they sponsor anybody, if anybody's talking about them. Go into different forums. There's, Reddits, Discord, Voscoin has a forum board, which is good for that. That way you can get reviews of them. Okay, luckily, these past few months, a lot of people have started transitioning into ASICs, so a lot more people are talking about them now. Okay, one of the first videos I did was kind of best practices about it, but now that I'm way more familiar with it, a lot more people are also talking about it. Okay, so as you see other vendors, it gives you more confidence in them. Okay, so again, this is just this list. This is not the end all be all. There are others, especially a lot of these guys who are based in the US. Even better because now you 100% do not have to worry about those tariffs, right? I know there's like Coastal Crypto Mining. There's a few others. So again, never purchase from them, but I know there are one. There are the ones that are active in the community. So sometimes those are the guys you want to support also. Okay, so not, have to take into consideration the price and everything, but see if it makes sense. Okay, again, BT Miners is another one I go to because a lot of their prices are good. Okay, so look at the XP, it's $42.99, which is a nice little drop from most of the others. And again, my favorite thing with them is just that they take credit card as a form of payment. Okay, for me, that is a requirement for this amount of money. Okay, again, that way I have some kind of recourse, some kind of buyer protection. So please take that in consideration. Not all of them do that. They're one of the few who do. Okay, so just keep in mind and do your research, guys. I know it is kind of tough, but again, try to go into those boards, ask questions. If any of you guys have purchased, please comment. Comment in there who you've bought from, who you like, who you don't like. If you had a bad experience, please comment, guys. That way we can help each other out. Because the more we talk about it, the more comfortable we can get with it, right? And we can give credit to these, guys who have good business practices. Okay. All right, guys. I know it's kind of a long one, but it is an important one. Because again, if you are thinking about buying an ASIC, it's a lot of money, man. You really got to protect yourself. You got to make, the best possible informed decision that you can. Okay. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. And I am out.